Tropical storm Irma now downgraded to a tropical depression after lashing out on the Carolinas from flooded streets, trees down, and massive power outages. Irma left behind a mess around our area. We do have live team coverage this morning of everything you need to know in the aftermath of Irma here in the Carolinas. Good Tuesday morning. I'm Rachel Roller alongside Larry Sprinkle. Thanks so much for starting your day with us here at 4:30. We do have a lot to get to this morning after Irma hit the Carolinas. So let's take a look right now at the current power outages. As of right now, there are more than 9,000 customers without power in Mecklenburg County and more than 1,000 in Gaston, Cleveland, Lancaster, and York counties. Crews are out assessing that damage, and as soon as we get an update on those outages, we'll bring it to you here on air and online at WCNC.com. Also, parents, listen up. Several schools in the Charlotte area are delayed this morning because of Irma. Now, some of those include CMS, Gaston County, and Union in South Carolina, Chester, Clover, and Rock Hill. Now, these are just a few of many, so for that full list, head on over to our website, WCNC.com, or you can see the crawl at the bottom of the screen. All right, so Larry, let's talk about it's definitely rainy out there for your Tuesday morning commute.
Rain out there, and the good news now, tropical depression. We'll take a look. You can get the latest coordinates and the movement of this. It's south of Atlanta, Georgia, about 90 miles south-southwest, and moving off to the northwest, so, certainly moving away from us with winds right now sustained at about 35 to 40 miles per hour. The main threat, once again, would be the amount of rain that we still could continue to get. As we can see that circulation, center of circulation about right there. You can see the bands of showers tracking off the Atlantic Ocean. You can see some of those moving into the Charlotte metro area, and some very heavy rain along the coastal areas down there towards areas just to the south of Wilmington and that part of North Carolina. We'll zoom in and show you got some heavier rainfall. You can see down Providence Road, down towards Sterling, Hebron, over to along 495. We got some heavy pockets of precipitation moving off to the northwest. As far as those winds out there, gusting to about 24 miles an hour at Shelby, 25 here in Charlotte, winds gusting to 26 in Anson County, Wadesboro. Here's your hour-by-hour forecast. A few showers as we head through the morning hours, but for the afternoon, we'll see a few peaks of sunshine, and temperatures today ranging into the mid to upper 70s. An improving weather situation over the next several days, but there's another hurricane out there. We'll look at all that coming up in just a few minutes. Rachel.
Goodness, can't catch a break. Larry, thank you. All right, here's the newest information we know about Irma right now this morning. As we mentioned, it has been downgraded to a tropical depression. However, one person died in Calhoun Falls, South Carolina from Irma, 3 in Georgia, and 6 in Florida. At least 35 were killed in the Caribbean. Now, the number of power outages, we were just talking about those here in the Carolinas. The total in the U.S., 8 million, making it likely to go down as the biggest weather-related outage in U.S. history. So it's clear that Irma definitely left its mark on the Carolinas with heavy winds, rain, and trees down all across our area. Now, crews are continuing to work to clear those trees and get everything ready for the morning commute. NBC Charlotte's Ariel Placencia in our Chevy Storm Tracker surveying the damage this morning. So, Ariel, I'm hearing that there's some pockets of water on the road. What are you seeing out there?
Well, Rachel, you're exactly right. The roads are definitely wet out here. We've got a steady rain going on. Let me show you a look from our Chevy Storm Tracker. And we've been driving around to a lot of the residential neighborhoods, and what you'll notice is there's a lot of leaves on the ground. The wind last night just ripping the leaves off the trees and spreading them all over the ground. So that's another thing you want to take into consideration. Not only are the roads wet, but there's also leaves on them. Now, it's very dark out here, but I want to show you guys there was a tree down in this middle of the road right now. We're on Lebanon Road in Mint Hill. I'll show you our roof cam, and I'll try to turn it so that you guys can see a little bit. It has been cleared out of the roadway. It's right there. You can kind of see it on the left side of your screen. So that's the good news, that it's no longer in the roadway. But this isn't the only report of a tree down that we got. Starting last night, we saw a ton of them. In fact, take a look at this video. A tree lying on its side. You can see the roots sticking out of the base of this tree, which fell in Mint Hill on Turkey Oak Drive. We were there as crews started the cleanup process last night, cutting the tree into pieces with a chainsaw. And listen to this, as the rain really started to pick up, the calls coming in for reports of damage really started to multiply.
We got a tree limb on a power line. We got a little bit of sparking and fire.
Okay, so let them know they've got 3 secondary wires down, tree across the power lines in the road.
So we had power lines across the road, we had trees across the road. Let me just give you one more live look out here at what we're looking at. You can tell The road is really wet and the rain's starting to come down. Those windshield wipers definitely getting a workout out here. Now, we're definitely going to be out here in the storm tracker driving around. I'll keep you updated on any road conditions that might cause a few headaches once the morning commute starts to pick up a little bit. So stay with us right here on NBC Charlotte. But Rachel, that's it for now. I'll send it back to you.
All right, Ariel, thank you so much. Well, dozens of trees were knocked down in York County overnight. You saw some in Ariel's report there. However, crews have been working all night into the early morning hours to clear the roads as quickly as possible. Now, some of those trees unfortunately fell on power lines. Around 200 York Electric power customers lost electricity in the middle of the night, and that included York, Lancaster, and Chester counties. Check this out, a perfect example about how deadly these strong winds can be. This tree in Fort Mill, South Carolina, toppled on top of a car as it drove down the road. Now, thankfully, that driver is okay, but certainly a scary, close call. Wow. Well, a tree also down in a busy Charlotte area. We're told it snapped in Plaza Midwood, and that's where we find NBC Charlotte's Hannah Welker this morning. So, Hannah, I see it behind you. It looks like it's raining, and that tree is definitely blocking part of the road.
Yeah, it's definitely blocking the entire road, Rachel. You can see the police officer actually blocking traffic here. This tree is massive. We're here at Commonwealth Avenue in the Plaza Midwood area. This tree has been down for hours, this police officer told me, but crews are so backed up because of all the trees down. You could see the wires that it's on. This, I believe, is a telephone line because if you look around, these people still have power in this area. This is a really common sight, though. Last night, also on Redbud Street, a tree actually crashed right near a woman's house. She heard the pop, she heard the boom, and this is what she had to say.
It's huge, but it's a live tree, so I'm not sure of how, unless, you know, all the saturation of the rain actually made the tree fall, because it's still alive. But as the wind blew, the tree blew.
Yeah, you can imagine what these neighbors heard last night. If they were sleeping, I'm sure they were woken up. But they say this could take hours for it to be cleaned up because, again, it's on lines. It's all the way across the road, and you can see the bottom of it too. What came out of the ground? I mean, this is a massive, massive tree, guys. It's nasty out here. It's wet, and it is a rainy, rainy morning. Back to you.
Hannah, thank you so much. All right, Irma also left behind some damage in the Charleston area. Take a look at that video. This is at the Medical University of South Carolina. Students and people who live nearby trying to walk to their cars or where they live, but it was under several feet of water, waist high, you can see as they zoom in. First responders in that area also had a lot of rescues to do as well. Wow, that video is unbelievable. All right, if you have a flight to catch today or you're picking someone up on the airlines, you might want to make sure that you check your flight status. Take a look at all these delays we've heard of so far because of Irma. Now, 35 flights from Charlotte have been canceled. Another 34 flights to Charlotte have also been canceled. Now, taking a look across the board, 2,227 flights have been canceled nationwide after Irma just wreaked havoc in our area. 4,549 flights delayed nationwide. So those are the cancellations, the delays. You're just really seeing them all over the place. However, if you are flying out the rest of this week, Delta, Southwest, Frontier, and United are resuming their flights this morning. So that's a little bit of good news. But again, make sure that you check your flight status before heading out to Charlotte Douglas. All right, coming up after the break, the Caribbean is still trying to recover this morning from Irma. We've got an update on relief efforts to help the devastated islands.
Still windy. There's still some rain out there. The big question, how long will all this be around? I've got your forecast right here, right after the break.
And as we go to break, we're taking a live look right now from Myrtle Beach as the waves roll in after Irma. The tropical depression now fizzling out as it pushes further inland. We'll be right back. Breaking news now at 4:41. A CMPD investigating an overnight homicide in Northwest Charlotte. We're told they found a body on Rosetta Street near Beatty's-Ford Road. Now, at this time, limited information is available, but as soon as we learn more, we will update you right here on air and online. We're going to take a live look right now in St. Croix in the Virgin Islands, one of the many islands hit by Irma. Now you can see the usually lush green islands now a dull brown. Many homes damaged or destroyed with looting and burglaries reported as well. Now relief is arriving to that region, but many there remain in desperate need of help.
It's still a mess. Home invasions have been high, armed robbery. That's a big concern. Lots of people are walking around armed.
On St. Martin, the hurricane is said to have destroyed more than 90% of that island. Officials say that reconstruction in Barbuda could cost hundreds of millions of dollars. All right, check this out. Incredible before and after photos from NASA. Now, these Caribbean islands appear to be lush, beautiful, and green before the storm. And then after the storm, you see just everything is brown. NASA says the storm ripped away a lot of the tropical vegetation. When Irma hit this area, it was a powerful Category 5 storm with sustained winds of 185 miles per hour. 4:46 now. The state of Florida trying to regroup this morning after Irma left behind a massive mess. This is a live look right now from Miami, where it is a much different story this morning from earlier this week. Now, millions of homes still without power, many flooded in Florida. Meanwhile, trees are down in much of the state. NBC's Sarah Rosario live in Miami this morning. Sarah, so it really depends where you are. Some of those streets look like they're untouched, others just devastated.
Right. This is how it happens with the storm. I mean, many people are picking up the pieces and trying to look at the damage. But here in the Florida Keys, just south of us, there are search and recovery efforts underway. People unaccounted for. The damage so bad in some areas, you can only get to it by air. As Irma churns across the southeast, the damage left behind in Florida is staggering. In hard-hit Naples, to the Florida Keys.
We got no power, no water. It's a mess.
The storm slamming into the Keys as a Category 4 hurricane, pushing homes off their foundations, boats onto roads, and toppling RVs and trailers.
It's going to take months, maybe a year to get this cleaned up.
Brian Holly is one of the estimated 10,000 in the Keys who refuse to leave. With debris covering the islands, he wished he would have heeded the warnings.
Don't stay for another one.
The storm knocked out power to more than 7 million people, too much for the state's largest energy provider to handle.
It's also the first storm, by the way, that has impacted all 27,000 square miles and 35 counties that we serve across Florida. It is a magnitude that we just haven't seen before.
The hurricane-force winds leaves a path of destruction and flooding from Jacksonville to the Carolinas.
I know for our entire state, but especially for the Keys, it's going to be a long road. There's a lot of damage.
A state still reeling from a catastrophic storm, but thankful it wasn't worse. And Larry and Rachel, even as crews continue to work through the night around the clock, unfortunately, there is no estimate as to when power will be restored to the many people without electricity across the southeast. Reporting live in Miami, Sarah Rosario. Back to you, Larry and Rachel.
Sarah, thank you so much. You know, I was listening to a lot of people earlier. They're upset that they're not allowed to go back to their home in the Keys, but how do they expect to get there?
You can't. I mean, that's an unfortunate situation.
It's about 4:55 now. All right, Hurricane Irma leaving behind a lot of viral stories people are talking about. The storm put a trip of a lifetime on hold for a little girl, which is never good news, but all right, I think you're going to like this. Listen to this. Her family is still determined to make her birthday very special. At just 3 years old, Liliana has already fought a big battle against a brain tumor. And she was supposed to go to Disney World this past weekend. As you know, Disney closed the park for the 5th time ever. Now, this was all part of the Make-A-Wish program. Instead, Disney came to Liliana. Thanks to her family, friends, some strangers helping out. Her favorite character, Cinderella, even came to her party. So cute. She doesn't look nearly as excited in that photo as I think she was. There she goes. Aww.
Well, she probably realizes she's not at Disney World.
They did what they can, right?
She's like, what world am I? But that was very nice they did that.
All right. Have you seen the picture of the parrots?
No, I have not seen it.
Oh, my goodness. It's my favorite. All right, take a look.
Okay.
Parrots in Miami taking the internet by storm with all their cuteness. Now, they were trying to get out of the rain, of course, get out of that storm, seek shelter from Irma. This is the 22nd floor of a hotel in Miami there. Hello.
It's kind of hanging out the window there. Is that
Excuse us.
Okay.
There's like multiple photos of these birds. At one point, it was just one of them, and then both sitting there, kind of just staring at the people inside. Lots of people talking about how cute they are. Others kind of angry, saying the photographer should have let the birds in.
Well, I mean, they look okay.
They do, right?
I mean, they look like, is that like a husband and wife?
I'd like to think so. Maybe
been married for a long time. I mean, they could live to like 45, 50 years old.
Parrots, right? I know, it's insane. Got a lifetime of happiness ahead of them now that they're out.
I like your parrot pics.
Thanks. I'm glad you like the parrot. Do you like the parrot pics? Let us know on Twitter at Rachel Ruler. Larry, WCNC. We're both there. All right, still ahead on NBC Charlotte at 5 o'clock. Irma comes to the Carolinas. The latest on the power outages in the area as thousands waking up in the dark this morning.